one at a time.
I just wanted to mention that I shared the link to my scheduling in the chat. So if you want to chat about anything one-on-one, you can certainly grab some time with me, and we'll take it from there. And if you have any questions about anything, you can send it to me. And even if it's doesn't fall under my purview, I can forward it to the appropriate departments or staff members.
Thank you, Gabriela. Yeah, and feel free to, once again, come on screen or use the chat feature. Let us know what we can answer for you. What I can do in the meantime is to guide you through what the process usually is, right? So at this point, all of you have auditioned. At this point, all of you have been admitted into the program. So congratulations again. At this point, some of you may have deposited, right? So the tuition deposit that we have in place is a total of $1,000 and this is an amount that you're not paying to Berklee, just goes into your account and is refundable, by the way. So it's just your way of saying, I'm admitted and I'm doing this. I'm really doing this. I'm committing. I'm getting my seat into the program and I'm really coming, right? Now, should you decide for whatever reason to either defer on, or if you cannot make into the program for whatever reason, this amount can be returned to you at any time. Okay, if you decide to withdraw from the program, this deposit is completely refundable, and we will come back to you. But in the meantime, that's the best way for us to know if you're joining the program or not, right? So for those of you who deposited, fantastic. Now, another perk of depositing is that once you deposit, you gain access to a new page in your application that is called Next Steps page that will allow you to start addressing all the onboarding items, right? And there's quite a few of them, okay? The best way to do this, you need to log into your student portal. The student portal is the same place where you found your admission letter, right? The one that says, congratulations, you've been admitted into the program. That's where you can accept the offer, reply to the offer and accept the offer, submit your deposit, and that's what gives you access to the new Next Steps page. Once you gain access to the Next Step page, then you're gonna have a few other items on your dance card, and that will include health insurance, that will include applying for a visa, that will include securing your housing in Valencia, and so on and so forth. Let me see. I think we have a question at this point from Marissa. What does orientation week look like? I know we have to do the placement audition, but what else happens during that week? That's a fantastic question. So all Berklee students have to go through an orientation week, regardless if you're going to Valencia or if they're going to Boston. Now, these orientations are equivalent in a way, because through this orientation, we get a sense of where student stands in terms of musical proficiency, so that we're able to place them to the adequate level and classes. The placement audition will be very similar to the audition that you've done to get into the program. And it just answers different questions. Okay, obviously the student it's really good, made it into Berklee. In what level should we place them? It's also a great opportunity for you to test out of some classes. So as you know, we have certain subjects like harmony, for example. We have 4 levels, right? When you go through your orientation week, you're able to get tested into some of these subjects, and that's harmony, music theory, your training, and so on. If you come in with a higher level of proficiency, you will test, let's say, in level 2 and level 3. That automatically means that you won't have to take and pay for the other classes, which is great. So you test out of classes, you save time and you save money, right? Other than that, you also be doing something called ESPA, and that's the Entering Student Placement Audition and Assessments. So it's not just an audition, it's also some written test that you'll have to take, and that's how we gauge, your knowledge of music theory, for example. So it's not just the actual audition, there's also going to be written tests that you'll have to take. And that's all part of the orientation from an academic perspective. That week is also dedicated to you meeting the staff in Valencia, meeting the faculty in Valencia, meeting the other students into the program. You're gonna go into this program together with another cohort called Study Abroad. So you are first year abroad, but at the same time, you're gonna have a study abroad cohort that goes, to the same place at the same time. These are musicians slash students that come from the Boston campus, and that's because the Valencia campus accommodates two different cohorts, right? Actually, three different cohorts. In Valencia, we have graduate programs. We have four of them that last for a year. So you will see graduate level students that are studying there. We have a first year abroad student, which you're a part of. And then we have a study abroad program that you can join when you are around the third or your fourth semester at Berklee. You can apply to spend one semester only around that part of the process to go to Valencia. And these are the students that you will be meeting, which is great. We did that on purpose because we want you to get to know students who already gone through the process here, had been here for already like a couple of years, and they're able to tell you their experience about, hey, this is the program that you need to get into, or this is the major that I'm currently pursuing. And you get to get all these insights and juju directly from the students who are already doing this, right? So it's great. Um, Other than that, you will be checking into the dorms. Students in the first year abroad have to commit to the Livenza living complex that we have in Valencia. Allow me to say, if I could live in Livenza tonight, I would sign the contract right now. So if you're wondering, but I don't know these places, I haven't seen it. I'd rather find my own place. It will be, better fits my needs. It's the best place that I ever seen. The bed and student housing situation. I studied abroad. I actually went to China for 5 years when I was a student. That was like a million years ago. But it was one of the best experiences of my life. But compared to that, let me just tell you, I walked into Valencia last year and I literally wanted to live there forever. They have a pool, they have a library, they have different resources available to students. They have ping pong tables, they have a fantastic gym that is available to you. And it's also your best shot at getting to network with all these people that are on the Valencia campus. And as I mentioned, there's graduate students, there's study abroad students, and there's other first year abroad students. So that's what Livenza is like. In terms of commute to campus, um, Valencia is a very, very bikeable. Is that a word? Bikeable city? I don't know. I've non-native speaker here. Uh, so there's bikes everywhere. There's a very generous program that allows you to pay something like $5 a month to rent bikes anywhere you are. So it's a little bit like Blue Bikes, but for the price of 2-3 rides here in Boston, literally you could buy a membership for a whole month. And there are literally every corner of the city. So that's your best way to get to places. There's also subway and there's obviously taxis. But let's answer some questions. I hope that answered your question, Marissa. I know I talk a lot, so moving forward, do we leave from Boston or home? What does departure look like? Okay, so we have students coming from every corner of the world into this program and into Berklee, right? So depending on where you're located, you'll have to find the best travel arrangement to get to Valencia at a time that makes sense for you. In the next sessions that we will do in collaboration with Valencia, we will be able to share an exact check-in time where you physically get to enter the dorms in Valencia, and that happens during orientation time, which is the last week of August. Okay, so I'm gonna leave that up to you, meaning you could get to Valencia, a week before the program or 2 weeks before the program, and use that time to go to the beach and explore the city or travel Europe a little bit, right? But you'll need to be there in the last week of August, so that you can go through all the mandatory steps for orientation, check into the dorms, and so on and so forth. So just to answer your question, Annalise, um, we don't have an exact departure time in mind that we can tell you. We just need you to be there for orientation. So it's really up to you when you could get there the day before, or like a week before. That's completely up to you. However, if you do that, you're gonna have to find your own housing arrangements. That goes without saying.
I see we have two raised hands as well, Cara and Gabriel.
Oh yeah, come on in. Yeah, please.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
I can put my video on. My question is, I went on to the next steps. I was here for the last one that we had. And I couldn't really make any headway on any of those next steps. And I called admissions and they told me I'm like waiting to receive emails from the school to like request housing and all these things. And I just like, I haven't been able to get anything to work on there. I really dug into it and it seems like it's not really available to us yet. So I'm wondering if you could tell me how that works.
Yeah, so great question, by the way. Let me first specify that the folks that we have in this room are only a part of the overall cohort that will go to Valencia within the first year abroad program. So you are part of the early action cohort. That means that you got admitted a lot sooner than the regular action that takes place. Decisions go out on March 31st. So by the end of this month, in about a couple of weeks, we will get to meet the other students and the other families who are also part of this program. There should be a bigger group than this one, right? This could be the reason why you're at this point in time, you're not yet able to move forward. We also need to accommodate enough time for you all to receive the physical admission packets that we send to everybody. So sorry to counter your question with another question, but were you
Can
able
I
did you
can I ask something else then?
Definitely.
Sorry, do you want me to turn my video on? Talking to a box here.
Hi.
Hi. The reason I'm asking this question is because for me, like my main concern is I do really want to make sure that I get into the early things because I have a couple of things like I really need a room by myself because I have very strict dietary things. I'm also like
Yeah.
much older than everyone. So I would really like to have my own room. And that kind of thing. And so I couldn't really like, if I can't make any headway right now, if I wait until like more information is available, am I going to be behind? Because I already got my physical packet and everything, but I just can't seem to get the platform to work with me. So
I see. Thank you for letting me know. So going different pieces in this question.
okay.
The first one of this is you mentioned your living arrangements. So any living arrangements related questions can actually go to the team in Valencia. So they're there on site and they'll be able to help you out with these. So if you have a special request of anything that, if you need to request a single room for whatever reason, I would encourage you to discuss this with the team there to see if there's any availability and to provide the reasons and so on and so forth. Now, for the visa piece, you said that you already received your packet, which is great.
I did. Yeah.
Were you able to move forward with any visa related steps?
That I hadn't looked into yet. I just got my packet, so that I hadn't looked into. I was more looking at the housing and I'm like forgetting there was something else.
Yeah,
I think that maybe I guess I was also having trouble. I think what I'm thinking of, that was something else. I was having trouble knowing if like I write like the thing with the dietary, is that an accessibility? Is that something I write to them?
Yes, I actually copied the accessibility resources email in the chat because if it is a matter of accessibility and not just preference, they might be able to help you with that.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah. So and it really depends on the request. this could be potentially a collaborative effort between the folks in Valencia and our team here in Boston. Not our team, but the accessibility resources team in Boston, because that they will probably be ask you for more information about any dietary restriction or, for example, medical conditions. They'll gather this information. It goes through an appeal process, and then they take it from there. But these are the two teams that you want to be speaking to if you
Okay,
have
so
any
even though
questions.
I can't access the platform, I should write emails to the accessibility.
Yeah, I'm curious to talk to you, on 101, whenever you have the time, and we can probably walk through, and we can do this with Gabriela, or you and Gabriela, same.
That would be
Kind of
great.
like looking into your portal
Yeah.
to see what it looks like, and if it's really like a tech thing, or if it's just a matter of access because it's too early. I'll be
Okay.
curious to find out. So, Gabriela shared her appointment link. I can probably reshare that one more time. If we get to connect on a 101 basis, on a 102 basis,
Okay.
we'll be able to take a look and see what's going on.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
For sure.
Yeah.
And then we have another question. Lindy, did you ask a question, or did I make that up in my mind? Okay. I'm starting to see things. All right. So next question that we have in the chat. Great question. What is the process for roommate assignment? That's a great question. Usually Livenza does these kind of arrangements. And most of the rooms are double rooms. So if you have a specific question, for example, there's another student in the program that is a friend of mine and I love to roommate with them. Can this happen? This should be brought to the team in Valencia, and they'll talk specifically with Livenza and see if it's feasible. Question from Shelley: is there an online freshman first year abroad group? Wondering about maybe connecting with other students before August departure. That's a great question. I think the best way to connect with I don't think we have a Facebook group in place. We used to do that. But the best way to connect with the rest of the group is really to attend these sessions. And I seen students sharing Facebook and Instagram, WhatsApp, and then connecting that way. Um, but that's a great question. I'll see if Valencia has something in place. As I mentioned, we're a little bit in a limbo because you were admitted very early. You're part of the early action cohort. So by the time the rest of the group comes on board, we'll have more answers for you. That's a promise.
Hi, my name's Chris.
Hey, Chris.
I had a quick question. When I got on a little late, and I thought I heard a comment made in regards to best chance to get housing. I was a
Mhm.
little concerned about hearing that.
Is that it?
Best chance to get housing?
I may have misheard what was said, but I thought I heard you say the best chance to get housing. Is housing, is it a sure thing? I mean, is it?
Yeah, no,
okay.
housing I'm sorry that, you heard it that way, but, housing is guaranteed for students. It's actually mandatory for students in the first year abroad. Everybody needs to be in the Livenza complex. And I think in the beginning of the presentation, I was just saying a lot of good things about the complex, because it's a really beautiful complex. But yeah, it's mandatory for students in the first year abroad to go to this complex, and it's guaranteed for everybody.
Great, thank you.
For sure.
Hi, I have a question.
Hi.
Wait, I'll turn my camera. So, so this will be our first year abroad, and we'll obviously have to stay in dorms. But my question is, will we have to still stay in dorms when you go back to Boston? Because it technically will be our first year there. So I'm curious about it.
Yeah, so Boston never had a requirement on housing for students, right? So when you're in Boston, regardless if it's your first year or your last, you can find your own housing arrangements. It's just Valencia where we like to keep these cohorts of students together. You have to be in Levenza, but once you get to Boston, you can find your own arrangements.
Thank you. Okay.
For sure. Okay. Gabriela, am I missing out on any questions here? I'm sure I am.
I'm not seeing any other questions. But I
see.
know, oh, do you see any?
Hello, I have another question. It's Chris again.
Hi, Chris.
My wife just joined, Ryan's mom and dad, Ryan Dennison. And could you repeat about the arrival times, how there's nothing, exact of when you need to arrive by, as long as it's before orientation? Please, thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have no requirement in place. It's just that orientation is mandatory for all students, right? So we just need you to be there for orientation. You could potentially, I've seen students going there like a week before just to get some time to explore the city with family or to travel a little bit. Again, it's Valencia in the summertime, so it's a perfect opportunity if you're taking your kid there to take advantage of everything that is going on in the city or around the city. We should have orientation dates on the website, so I would just go by those. You could potentially come a day before and then take advantage of the fact that students will do their check-in during that week. But yeah, no requirement in place. The only thing that I would be mindful of if you're really planning to go there, let's say a month before that time, is to discuss this with the study abroad office. And that's because if you don't have a EU passport and you're applying for a student visa for your son or your daughter, and you're on a travel visa, there could be some limitation where you have to go into the country, a certain number of days only before the program starts. So that's what I would be mindful of, only if you plan to be there very, very, very early.
And also, being mindful of when the dorms will open and you'll be able to go in, and whether you'll have to, book additional lodging.
Correct. Yeah, because usually check-ins are during the week orientation, so you can come earlier than that, but then obviously you'll have to find, different housing arrangements.
I have a question if I can. So I'm a parent or actually a guardian of one of the students who got admitted, and congratulations to him. He got this one of the best colleges for music. The thing that I'm trying to sort out is how do I finance it? And he's from India, okay, and it's a tall order, $60,000 per year for next 4 years, which is equal to approximately $250,000 that we'll have to finance. So the first question is, as a foreign international student, he is not eligible for any scholarship or financial aid. So he has to fund his own education. Is that correct?
Yes and no. So the reason why I'm saying this is because all students can qualify for an audition scholarships. So when you apply for Berklee, about 45% of entering students end up getting a scholarship, and the scholarship can range from $0 all the way to full tuition based on level, right? So if you got into the program or into Berklee with a scholarship, the scholarship will be renewable every year. So for example, if you got a $10,000 scholarship, every year $10,000 scholarship will be subtracted to your tuition bill. If you did not qualify for a scholarship, you could take advantage of the outside scholarship, and I have a link ready for you that I can share. So outside scholarships are scholarships that are endorsed by Berklee but not affiliated with Berklee. So this means that it's something that you have to look into, and if you find any award that you qualify for based on your geographical region or your ethnicity or your music genre, there's very different criteria. You can apply for these and either get one or get one on top of your existing audition award that comes from Berklee. Now, financial aid Financial aid is federal aid and is widely available to domestic students. For international students, there's only a much smaller percentage that is available. It's there and it's available. So I would still encourage you to apply for it, but I would just not put a lot of expectation into it because the awards for international students, the ones that come from the federal government, are pretty limited.
So okay, he did not qualify for the scholarship. So
I
that
see.
means the internal scholarship is close to him, and he may not have applied for outside scholarship that you mentioned. So thanks for that link that you probably put in. I'll ask him to take a look at that. And then you said federal aid that generally is not available for international students. So the only option for the first year at least is outside scholarship if he can land something.
It would be, yeah, outside scholarship. And once again, I would still encourage him to apply for federal aid, even if it's a little bit, why not? You know,
Sure,
it's just
absolutely.
not something to put too much expectation on, because I seen the awards and they're pretty small. But I would still encourage him to look into it.
Okay, very good. So let's say I mean, he can continue to apply, and from second year, do the options for him to get into financial aid or scholarship change? Because first year, I think international students are blocked out, but second year may be a different deal. Is that true?
So I'm not sure I fully understand your question. Would you mind repeating?
So during the first year, he did not qualify for any scholarship, and I think he doesn't qualify for financial aid internal from the program. Okay, and you said 45% of the students generally get some financial aid or scholarship. Okay, so he didn't qualify for any of those, at least for the first year. So do the things change in the second year? Would he be eligible to apply for something?
Great question. So all of these awards that we're talking about are awards for entering students. So these are awards that you can get before you even check in, before you even become a student at Berklee, right? When you begin your career, especially after you're done with the first year, there's a number of grants and scholarship that you can take advantage of. Some of these are also related to your academic performance. So we have something in place that you can research a little. It's called Berklee Thrive Scholarship. It's on our website, and is available to students with a high academic performance. So it's important to get good grades. Those who do get good grades can qualify for these awards. So the answer to your question is yes, absolutely. They can get other, even if they haven't received an audition scholarship, they can still qualify for other awards during their course of study.
Okay, so let's say now, best case scenario, he gets something at the end of 4 years, he has, let's say, 100,000 in debt. And in the worst case, he has $250,000 in debt, right? So I'm wondering, how long will it be before he can pay off any of that debt? So do you have any data that when students graduate, what is their earning potential after that?
So I personally don't have something solid in place to share with you, like as of now, but I think the Career Center at Berklee, we have a dedicated department who goes over stats of this kind that I would encourage you to connect with. It's called Career Center, and their email address is careercenter@berklee.edu. It's a very interesting question that you're asking, but also a very tough one, and that's because students at Berklee, they end up doing completely different things. There's students that focus on performance, students that work at Apple or Facebook as engineers, students that work at law firms with a degree in music business. So it's really tough to say. And again, I think the Career Center may have something like that available for you to look over. Oh, I think I lost you, Mr. Agarwal. Sorry, I can hear you. I cannot hear you. I apologize. Gabriela?
Yep.
Okay, I can hear you. Okay, I thought it was me at some point, but Mr.
Yeah,
Rakesh,
no, it's
unfortunately, we cannot hear you anymore. You're not coming through. I apologize.
yeah, but I shared the Career Center email in the chat just for everyone. And also for financial advising, if anyone wants to go into more detail about their options, you can email onestop@berklee.edu, and then they can have this kind of more in-depth conversations. And I just wanted to address a question that came through the chat just for everyone to hear about visa processing. So can Berklee Boston assist with visa processing? Absolutely. They are actually the ones who are supposed to help you with the visa. I know it can be confusing to understand kind of who does what, but yes, but Study Abroad is dedicated to the whole visa process. So I shared the link with all the information about passports and visas. And if you have any questions, you can email them at studyabroad@berklee.edu, which is also in the chat.
All right. Yeah, and I would just encourage everybody to continue checking your emails with all the invites that we will be sending out for other events. I just look forward to have the whole cohort all in one spot so that we can start, seeing you, most importantly. Like I only see Shelly and Lindy, but I look forward to seeing more of you. Other than that, again, this is just an opportunity for us and to connect with you and to let you know that we're here to help you throughout the process. Um, Gabriela, would you mind resharing your appointment link? So if someone here would like to connect us on a one-on-one basis, they can.
Sure. I see Shelly has another question.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm not sure about one-stop sign-in. Not sure what you mean by that, Shelly.
Can you hear me right now?
Yep.
Okay. Hi. My son was admitted recently, and so he had this is a really strange thing. I don't know if it's happening to anybody else, but he had his original like login, email and password. He had done a camp in Boston last summer, and he had created that then, and then applied, and then was admitted. And now I feel like I can't see anything on the website about accepted students visiting days or anything like that. So I went onto the Facebook page and asked about it. And one of the parents on that Facebook page said, you need to go to your you need to sign into your one-stop email. And I didn't know what that was. And so when we tried, we just cannot get into it. It won't allow him to get in. So I can't see anything that's happening to students. And I don't, and my son even tried for like 20 minutes the other day. And then he ended up just emailing admissions. He hasn't heard back yet, but like it's
We can
strange.
actually
Can't
help
get
you
in.
right away.
So odd.
I just need you to send your son name in a private message to me.
Great. All right, will do.
So what we're gonna do, this does happen, by the way.
Okay.
It's a one pass. That's what it's
Yes,
called.
one pass, right.
It's the access. It's your student portal, right?
Yes.
It can happen that you get locked out, and when that
Yeah.
happens, we need to liaise with the operations team here in admissions to make
Okay.
sure that you get a new login. But
Okay.
that's a very easy fix. Just let me know
Okay. Yeah, I was
name,
just, I
last
didn't
name,
know.
and date of birth. Sorry.
Perfect. Yes. All right, I'll send it along.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I see a couple more raised hands. Feel free to unmute yourself and ask away. Lindy, did you have a question?
Yeah, hi. Yeah, my question is more about schedule. I have a couple different offers from a couple different schools, so I'm just in that stage where I'm like trying to balance which decision, where to go. Do you know when Berklee announces or gives out financial aid awards? Like, how long does that process usually take? Because I haven't heard back yet, and like Berklee's one of the offers I'm super excited about, and that's just a really important piece of information, do you know how long like it just takes to hear back if there will be like financial aid given or anything like that?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So we have a department in place for the financial aid office that does that. Sometimes these kind of decisions take longer. So it's not possible for me to compare this to last year and say approximately, this is the time where you will find that decision, that information. But it's always good to connect with the team there. So if you send a quick email to onestop@berklee.edu, maybe you will not get immediately the answer, but you may be able to get a timeline.
Okay, cool.
And somebody maybe will tell you, Lindy, by the end of this month, we should be able to give you some information.
Cool. Thank you.
Sure. And next we have Kara. What is your question?
I just forgot to take my hand down. Sorry.
Oh, that was easy.
And I also haven't received financial aid stuff, so maybe it just hasn't gone out yet.
I see. Okay.
I see a question in the chat about where do we audition for the placement? I think you talked about it briefly in the beginning, but maybe they just hadn't joined yet.
Yeah, so the placement auditions will take place during the week of orientation in Valencia. So that's going to be part of your orientation week experience. And my question to the group was, did you get a chance to take a look at all the resources that we have available on the Valencia website? I know that we shared this a few times, but if it helps, I'm going to share these again. And I'm talking about, the orientation week as well as applying for a visa and all this fun stuff. I'm happy to reshare one more time. Okay, please bear with me as I locate this info, and Gabriela, we can probably move forward with any other questions that we have, if we have any.
I'm not
actually
seeing any other
one more
questions. Oh yeah,
question.
go ahead.
Hi. I have a chance to go to Berkeley anyway, just like for something else in a couple weeks from now. Are there any like staff associated with the Valencia program over in Berkeley? Like, I just thought it'd be fun to pop in and say hi, from up there anyway.
Sorry, Lindy, are you talking about Boston or Valencia?
So Boston, I'm gonna be in Boston in just like a couple weeks anyway.
Oh, nice. We all
Yeah.
here.
Okay.
Me and Gabriela and Bree was in the meeting. Like we all in our office here in Boston.
Oh,
So we're
cool.
right across from the Prudential Center. The building that you see behind me we're literally right here.
Okay, sick. Nice.
Yeah. So if you want to come by, you'll find all of us or one of us here in Global Initiatives. And yeah, don't be a stranger.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I might just pop in.
Yeah, I just shared the address in the chat. For study abroad, so for any visa stuff, that will be study abroad, which I'm not sure where they are actually. Daniel, where are they?
Yeah, I'm sharing
Oh, yeah.
some resources here. Yeah. So the first one is an overview of the program, and the second one is for accepted students specifically. And I'm trying to find some additional info about placement auditions once again. So I encourage you to save this in your favorites. There's a lot of good info on these pages.
Yeah, well, Daniel looks at that. So for anyone who wasn't here at the very beginning, he kind of explained how this works, how there are different departments and kind of staff teams who are working with different parts of this process. So there's a team in Valencia who handles kind of housing and arrival and academic stuff in Valencia. And then there's us, the team in Boston, and we handle more the kind of the admission side of it and the enrollment. And then there's a study abroad team who handles visas, and of course financial aid, who handles that side of it. So I know it can be confusing, but if, as I said in the beginning, if you have any questions, you can always just send them to me and I'll just forward it to the right person.
Thanks, Gabriela. And the last two links that I share with the group, these pertain to the placement auditions and the ESPA, the Entering Student Proficiency Assessment. So it goes a little bit in detail, instrument by instrument, and also what to expect during that week. Now, one of the questions that I get all the time is, do I have to prepare for the placement audition? Do I have to prepare for these tests? And my very politically correct answer to the question is up to you, right? The reason why I say this is because it really depends on where you want to be, right? The placement audition, they're designed in a way that place you in a class that makes sense. That makes sense according to your current level of music proficiency, right? Now, some students, prepare really hard over the summer to place into a higher level. That's great. By doing that, you may be able to test out of some classes. Okay. But again, by not preparing, that does not mean that you're going to be falling behind. So I just want you to know. So it's fine either way. Another opportunity that I like to present to the group is, please follow Berklee Global on Instagram. And I'll tell you why. It's not just one of those, please follow us kind of thing. Let me just share the link real quick. So this is Berklee Global Instagram that I just shared with everybody. The reason why I encourage you to follow this is because in the bio, you will find the Linktree link. And you will find all the events that are happening online, in person, domestically, and internationally. There are department overseas. One of these is called Ask Global Initiatives, and these are drop-in sessions that take place twice every month. They take place at different times, and they, in a way to accommodate, folks in this hemisphere as well as Asia and Europe. And it's a good opportunity for you to come into the session and ask away. If you have any questions, instead of sending us an email, come in and feel free to ask any questions. Maybe you have questions about scholarships, Valencia, and so on and so forth. So don't be a stranger. Feel free to sign up. And you will find some more info about the team and global initiatives if you like to connect with us too. And Bree, are you with us? Let's see if we can make a formal introduction. Allow me to introduce you to Bree Tagliaferro, Assistant Director of Berklee Global Initiatives. So we're one big team here in Global Initiatives. So Lindy, when you drop by, you may be able to see one of us or more. And yeah, so Global Initiatives is the department that is responsible for the first year abroad program as it pertains to admissions, and it's the unit that collaborates with all these other departments on campus to make sure that you have a great experience.
Yeah, it's nice to meet everybody. I had to join in a little late, but glad to see you all.
Right then, we're almost getting to the end of the hour. Any other question that we can answer for you? And if not, I encourage you one more time to stay connected with our team. Feel free to use the link that Gabriela shared to set up, one-on-one calls if you need to. And you know where to find us. So any questions that pertains to admissions can go to global programs at berklee.edu. Okay, and then you will definitely find one of us that can answer your question for you, or you can connect with Gabriela directly, or you could come to the Ask Global Initiative sessions. You will also be invited to a number of events that we'll deliver in collaboration with the Valencia team between now and the summer. And yeah, so the best way to be successful and to get all your ducks in a row to come to Valencia is to stay connected and make sure that you get on top of all your onboarding items. If you're not deposited yet, make sure to do that so that you gain access to the portal. And then we'll see you very soon. How does that sound?
Hi, I have a last question.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so is there like a deadline for the housing and like for checking in for the housing and paying the housing? Because I didn't find much information on the.
Yeah, so we have a generic deadline for depositing that is May 1st. So by May 1st, we need to know, we get to know who is committed to the program by looking at who has deposited and who hasn't, right? So depositing the $1,000 in your account would be the way that you unlock your next step portal and you can move forward with also housing. But you would need to handle this and give us a confirmation by then.
Right, but in this case, I already deposit. I
Great.
already had deposit, so
Yeah. So I would say you can move forward looking at all the items that you see in your next steps page, and then you can also connect with with the team in Valencia to go over housing. Let me share the link one more time. So admissions Valencia at berklee.edu.
that's great. Thank you.
Yeah, and I mean, it would be great to have like literally one point of contact for everything, but the reality is this program is massive. You know, it's an international collaboration and interdepartmental collaboration. This is it's a big deal for us and you. So we're just very excited to have you here. All right then. Well, at this point, we can probably wrap this up. Thank you all so much for coming into the session. We had an amazing time talking to you. Please remain connected. And if you have any questions now, you know where to find us, okay? So look forward to talking to you soon. Come to our office, come to our sessions, and then we'll see you in Valencia in July.
Thank you.
Oh, wrong, August.
Oh.
Thank you all. I shared in the chat as well the link for the virtual event that the Valencia team is having on April 20th at 12 p.m. Eastern time, 6 p.m. Central time, European time. So yeah, so feel free to ask them any questions that are specific to, you know, life in Valencia or anything like that, or any of these like more kind of nitty-gritty housing questions.
Thanks, Gabriela.
Thank you guys for today. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you all for joining.
Gabriela, the one thing about Ryan
Yeah.
is they've never been on an airplane before. So that's the back
Oh,
of my mind. Worry right now.
yeah, it'll be okay.
It may happen between now and then, who knows? But
Yeah.
because of his disabled brother, we just haven't been able to fly for a long
Oh,
time.
okay.
They don't allow wheelchairs on airplanes, so that's a problem.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I studied abroad in Spain, not through this program, but and yeah, and the flight can be very long, but you know, you survive.
Yep. Okay. Hopefully we'll perhaps get on an airplane over the summer. Who knows?
Yeah, that would be good as a practice run.
We're gonna try.
Practice vacation. Thanks, you guys. Bye.
All right,
Sounds
thank
good. Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.